How many of you find yourself planning your trips and your day-to-day activities around the fact that you know several days before your bleed actually arrives that you're going to be down and out with painful symptoms? In this week's episode, we look at painful symptoms. In this week's episode, we look at premenstrual syndrome, PMS, and how our culture normalizes these symptoms as just part of having a period, when in fact, they are not normal. I want to birthright how you can eliminate some of these nasty PMS symptoms with very little intervention. Hi, I'm Adrienne Irizarry. I'm an Eastern medicine practitioner who is passionate about women's health and helping women live their best lives. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your menstrual health, offering period solutions for a symptom-free life. Statements made in this program are for educational purposes only and not intended as a substitution for medical consultation or advice. We any diseases. This podcast is inclusive and welcomes all gender identities. The focus of the program is on biological function, and we will use the term women throughout, but it is referencing physiological and social challenges for biology, not identity. Come as you are, I am happy to. I hope you find something helpful in this show. Welcome back to another episode of Reproductive Rebel. I've decided this week that I want to blow the doors off of one of the most common misconceptions that literally drives me crazy. And that is that PMS, or premenstrual syndrome, is normal. Yep, there it is. I said it. PMS is not normal. Now, a lot of you are probably shaking your head and going, but everybody experiences it. Adrienne, what are you talking about? Well, let's flip the frame around PMS just a little bit. So premenstrual symptoms that can include things like, but not limited to, emotional changes, cramping, lethargy, bloating, sore breasts, and the list goes on. I will never, ever forget when I was newly in my menstruating years, there was a Midol commercial on TV. Now, some of you are going to probably remember this, and some of you, I'm totally dating myself, but here we go. There was this Midol commercial, and the woman of jeans, and she has her jeans slightly unzipped and definitely unbuttoned. And the voiceover in the commercial, like I said, I'm dating myself. This commercial is in excess of 20 years old now. This woman throws herself down on a couch, and the voice, "Are you struggling with bloating during your period? Take Midol and feel better." And the woman in the commercial takes the Midol, she buttons and zips her pants, and then it makes it look like she's frolicking, right? That commercial made such an impression on me as a 13, 14-year-old girl. I started having pain with my period almost as soon as my period began. Little did I know I was having issues with endometriosis right out of the gate. Was experiencing bloating and pain. This commercial told me if I took Midol, it was going to fix the problem. So when I had my first money to go into a CVS, what do you think I bought? I bought the Midol. What do you think I bought? I bought the Midol brand because they told me it was going to take care of my period problems. So I use that as an example. One of many, many, many. Oh goodness, I could quote lots and lots of marketing campaigns put period symptoms in the same conversation as this is normal. Here's the product that's going to fix it. Nowhere in that conversation do we ever look at what the bleeding body actually needs and that to have a PMS free period. Again, I can hear some of you cynics out there scoffing and laughing. Oh my gosh, I was that person. I was totally that person. When I first had somebody introduce the idea to me, that I could have a symptom-free period, I scoffed, and I'm really sorry. I'm gonna apologize to the person that I scoffed in their face because I was so cynical. I had so much pain and discomfort and cramping and headache so many years that the idea that I could have a symptom-free period seemed like I was going to have a unicorn spotting, and I totally waited for the unicorn to appear. Surprisingly enough, I actually saw the unicorn. And the fact that I, like so many of us, was brought up to understand that these are just symptoms that come with your period. I've even had doctors say, that's normal. You're on your period. I want to blow normal. You're on your period. I want to blow the doors off of that bullshit. It is not normal. It is normalized. Let me say that again. PMS, period cramps, pain, other undesirable symptoms is not normal. It is normalized. It is normalized because it is capitalized on, but it doesn't make it normal. Let's flip the script on this. Your body does not speak in your native tongue to you. It doesn't have the ability to do that. The only way your body has to communicate with you is through symptoms. So, in the idea that the symptoms that you're experiencing is your body's way of lovingly trying to communicate with you. Now, I know that there are times that it doesn't feel loving at all, and you're like, check, please, get me out of here. Jeez, I used to be that person. I totally get it. But when we start looking at period symptoms, like our body is saying, hey, I need a little more love and support in this particular area, and I am showing you the only way I know how. Just things, doesn't it? You're a little more compassionate to yourself. You're a little more understanding that your body's not broken. How many of us, and my hand is up while I am recording this, how many of us have said have said things to ourselves like, I am broken. There is something wrong with my body. I don't know why my body does this to me. Does any of those phrases sound familiar to you? I know they do to me because I said it before I understood that this was actually the only way my body had to communicate with me. And what it was telling me is that my body was stagnant. Bloating is a form of stagnation. Breast tenderness is stagnation. Stagnation, the conditions for cramping. When you're able to properly support your body with the nutrition that it needs, with the rest that it needs, with all of the things that the menstruating body needs during those bleeding days, you will be shocked at how quickly these symptoms that we just accept as normal start to go away. I've had some clients that have come in for intake appointments with me, and they take all of the period care advice that into play before they make any other changes, before they try steaming or they try acutonics or they bring herbals into it. They just do the proper period care changes that I'm suggesting. And I messages back, I want to work with you because just these few changes already made a difference. I can't imagine how much better this could get if we did all the work together. So, when I tell you that proper period care, which truly was our birthright to be taught and know from the very beginning. And unfortunately, so many of us learn how to take care of our periods and what to expect in a vacuum because we either have friends that have symptoms and problems and they're the ones sharing information with us. Our moms didn't want to talk about it and slid a box of tampons through the door. If you are a tampon user, definitely make sure you check out episode 20, which came out just before this one. And let's talk about just the tampons thing for a second. Let's talk about just the tampons thing for a second. But this is a lifestyle piece that we used to get. I mean, I can remember my grandmother. Sometimes my grandmother would put us on the bus in the morning, and she would always yell at me if I was about to head out the my hair. And I used to think, why does that matter? Yes, I know we live in Maine and it's cold, but why does that matter? Oh, it matters. So there were a lot of things that even as most recent as our grandmother's generation used to be common practice, ways that we would keep our body warm during our bleed, ways that we ate and took care of ourselves during our bleed, that over the course of the last few generations, we have totally lost touch with this knowledge. This used to be what was done in red tents. Women who weren't bleeding used to care for the women who were bleeding. You rested, you stayed warm, you ate warm things, you had certain practices that were just socially accepted. And over time, as world, we have spiraled further and further away from what we think our body actually needs. And today's generation, that looks like I'm on day 2 of my cycle, but I am working a 10-hour day today. Or my favorite, I weight lift, right? I weight train, and I'm in a few lifting forums on Facebook. And my favorite is the woman who's asking the other women in the group to help build her up because she doesn't have any motivation to go to the gym. And in the group to help build her up because she doesn't have any motivation to go to the gym that day. And there's so many beautiful souls that contribute their kind words and their encouragement and all of these things. And I'm the jerk. Sorry, guys. I'm the jerk that asked the question, what day of your cycle are Sorry, guys. I'm the jerk that asked the question, what day of your cycle are you on? Never fails. It is day 3. Never fails. You're not supposed to be doing that kind of heavy work on day 3. You are still bleeding. You are still in the heavier part of your bleeding. You are not supposed to be lifting or doing heavy cardio, or you are injury prone. You will exhaust yourself and you will make your period worse the next month. It's back this month. I am not throwing shame. I am merely here to give you the information that we should have fucking been given from the beginning. Oh my God, my life would have changed. Oh, my life would have changed dramatically had been given that information. I used to take fights because I did kickboxing and martial arts. I used to get into the frickin' ring when I was bleeding because I didn't know any better. So, like I said, I am not throwing shade. I am merely trying to share the information that really, truly is our divine birthright. We should have been taught this stuff. And there are some women who walk through the door of my practice and they are so blessed that they were taught this growing up because they had family members who shared this wisdom. But for the vast majority of us, we don't know what we don't know. That is the whole premise of this program. And I'm so glad and I'm so grateful that you keep coming back every week and listening to me get on this microphone and talk about these things that literally give me goosebumps while I'm talking about it because I just feel so passionately that we deserved to know this stuff from the friggin' beginning. I look back at my teens, early 20s. Mom had merely said, Adrian, chill the fuck out for 4 days. Can you do that? And not try to push through and not stay up too late and not overbook yourself those days and just chill out. My cramps would have gone away. I wouldn't have felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster every month. My migraines would have gone down. I used to suffer for years with migraines. I found out later that yes, celiac was a component of that, but that isn't the only piece of it. I was hell bent and determined that I could do everything a man could do. I still am. And I could do it with a backflip and a twist, and it didn't matter what day of the month it was, I could do it, right? I still feel that way. Episode for another really great announcement. Are you interested in sound healing and wish to use it for self-care in the comfort of your own home? Join me for Rebalance, a sound healing course to help you create balance and equilibrium in your body. The pace of our lives is fast, and it can leave us feeling unbalanced and out of sorts. Using the power of sound healing at home, give yourself a mini spa treatment and restore the balance that we all crave in our lives. Join me for the upcoming Rebalance class offered in person in Dover, New Hampshire and online through Zoom, and learn how sound can relax and balance your stressed system and feel ready to take on another day. Details about the upcoming classes are available in the show notes. And now, back to the show. However, the difference is I have learned where in the month I have different gifts. You might have heard me talk about this before. If you haven't caught my cycle productivity class, it will help you reduce your period symptoms because you'll learn how to schedule your work plan with the different phases of your cycle so that you're using the things your brain is good at and not overtaxing the energy that's available to you during that time. Period symptoms. Helping to solve period problems is a whole month-long activity. It's not just the period. However, you can do a lot for the overall health, well-being, and energy of the entire month by caring for yourself properly during your bleeding days. And I'm not saying that you come to a complete stop. Some people's cramps are so bad that their body shuts them down and goes, nope, you cannot do anything today because you didn't give me enough rest leading up to now. So I'm shutting you down now. I miss days of work every month. That's not sustainable. So if you learn proper period care, how to pace your work for where you are in your cycle, little tiny subtle shifts like that all month long will get you back to work. Your cycle is from the first day of fresh red blood until the first day of fresh red blood appears again. And caring for yourself in an intentional way exercising with the different phases of your cycle or the different in an intentional way, exercising with the different phases of your cycle or the different seasons of your life. If you have any questions about that, check out episode 17 in season 3. I sit down with Rock Hancock again. We talk not only about moving with your cycle like we did in season 1, but he has expanded that offering to look at the seasons of your life. Because how you exercise in perimenopause is different than before that point in your life, your bleeding years. Your body needs different things. We cannot exercise like assigned at birth male counterparts. We cannot, because our hormone profile is different, and it's different in different phases of our life. So learning how to move with where you are in your life, learning how to care for yourself properly during your bleeding days, and how to structure your work in your work days, all of a sudden you start seeing these symptoms fall away. I was talking about like the fact that my period was hell on wheels from the beginning. I mean, debilitating cramps, huge clots, irregular cycles. Like I was all over the map. Then I went to a period of time where I could only figure out when my period was starting through my basal temp dropping for short cycles. Then I had a long cycle that's no way to live. When I started being intentional about how I moved through the world, everything changed. I am now the proud owner of a 28-day symptom-free cycle and I have endometriosis. Like, I never thought that this would be possible. And you'd be so surprised how these little changes add up and pay dividends because the whole reason we suffer with PMS is because we overdo it so much of the time. It doesn't make us less capable. It means that we just have to work differently. And you can do that. And you can do that in the confines of a W-2 job. I know that there are some people who are like, that's great for you, Adrienne. You're self-employed. You're not dealing with the crap that I'm dealing with. That's not entirely true. You can choose when you're going to give that presentation to executive. Don't do it on day 3 of your cycle. Your mouth won't work. How many of you have recognized that? Are you raising your hands? Schedule that bad boy when you know you're about to ovulate, because you are going to be radiant and magnetic and charismatic, and you're going to be verbal, and you're going to have all the energy and enthusiasm, and it's going to be the most symmetrical of the entire month. You are going to be a force to be reckoned with if you plan it for the time when you are a force to be reckoned with. That's going to help you put your best foot forward. So yes, even in a W-2 environment, it is possible. It is possible. If you know what it is that you're looking for in terms of changes in your body and how to meet those changes with your workflow. PMS, premenstrual syndrome, doesn't, and it does for so many. And as somebody who used to be rowing that boat, my heart goes out to you, which is the whole reason that this episode exists. You deserve to be in the driver's seat of your life and not dread your period coming, worry that it's going to wreck your trip away because you don't know what kind of hellacious nightmares it has in store for you, because that frames it in a negative light. Your period is not your enemy. It can actually be a really beautiful, relaxing part of your life if you care for yourself properly, and it just shows up, does its thing, gets done, and you move on with your life. Your bleed should only be 4 to 5. Any brown that tells a story. Brown isn't normal. I know. Crazy, right? Brown is not normal. When I first started this work, I thought I had a 10-day period. 5 days of red and 5 days of brown. I had so much brown and it was so steady. I thought that was part had so much brown and it was so steady. I thought that was part of my bleed. I thought I bled for 10 days every month. And that's actually what I told my doctor. And they didn't seem worried about it, which is disturbing enough in itself. But brown isn't normal, whether it's a little bit or a lot. You're outside of fresh red blood only. No cramps, no clots, no headaches, no emotional roller coasters, no fire breathing dragons, none of it. You deserve that. That is your birthright. That is possible. That is possible without lots of supplements and fancy this and testing that and all of that shit. You can do this without really making huge financial investments. I would encourage you to look at the learning materials. I would encourage you to look at the learning material that I have on my website, but you can do this with proper body care. And if the only thing that you have to get is the course from me in order to have the knowledge, that's a pretty nominal investment. Have the knowledge, that's a pretty nominal investment. Because we spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on supplements that we might not even need, all in this quest to not have pain rule our life and not have PMS disorder, which is a more severe version of PMS, where the rage is just off the chart. It ruins relationships. It's totally mind-boggling for some of my clients when I say, I understand that you're feeling kind of ragey around your period. I understand that you're feeling kind of ragey around your period, but if you do this, this, and this, let me know how it goes next month. And they go, oh my God, I thought I was going to need medication because it was so ridiculous. And those couple of changes, like it wasn't perfect in 1 month, but it was significantly better. Sources available to it. And when we overtax those resources, we become symptomatic. You do not let your cell phone battery go dark and go completely empty because you can't use it, right? We are like that. You have to own cup. And believe me, as a parent and a business owner and a wife and a partridge in a fucking pear tree, I understand how hard that is sometimes. Believe me. Because it feels like the demands of the rest of the world are pulling you in 50,000 directions and everything is moving fast and the schedule 50,000 directions and everything is moving fast and the schedules are overpacked. And I get it. I see you. But this is literally you valuing yourself and your health enough to put up healthy boundaries today. Because the more that you can say that, or the more that you can say, today is not good. However, let's revisit this in, I don't know, a day, 2 days, depends on when in your bleed they come at you, right? If you're able to create those healthy boundaries for yourself, women are notorious for putting themselves in that martyr position. They will give the clothes off their back to their kid and their partner and everybody else in the world, and then there's nothing left to give to themselves. And then they wonder why they are suffering. And then the narrative turns, and then they wonder why they are suffering. And then the narrative turns back on them like they are a failure and there is something wrong with them. It is not true. It is merely a byproduct of the fact that your body is trying in these help me. Love me the way that you love everyone else. Because I can't give any more unless you give back to me. Doesn't that change the way that that feels? It makes your period symptoms no longer feel like an enemy. It makes them sound symptoms no longer feel like an enemy. It makes them sound kind of desperate for love and support. Why wouldn't you give them that? You are valuable. You are worthy. You deserve a symptom-free cycle. It takes to have that. My kids know mom's moon time is coming. You need to get your stuff through the washing machine because mom's not lifting laundry baskets. I mean, at this point, most of my kids are old enough that they can do their own laundry, but even when they were young and I was still doing the laundry, I could get it done before my bleed came because I was not lifting a laundry basket. I was not folding clothes. I was not doing anything extra. I would do just what I needed to. I would do it at a slightly slower pace, and I would make sure that I got to bed early. Sometimes that meant I missed out on things, but I chose me. Sometimes that meant I missed out on things, but I chose me. I poured back into my own cup, and I have enjoyed years of a symptom-free cycle as a result of making those choices to put as much value on loving myself and believing that I deserved that care and love as I did for everyone else. And that made all the difference. It created more ease in the things I did for everyone else. I had more energy. I slept better. I didn't have issues waking up all night. I slept better. I didn't have issues waking up all night. It really makes a difference. So if you don't take anything else away from this episode, PMS is normalized. It is not normal. You deserve better. Get what you deserve with very little effort or investment. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Reproductive Rebel. Reproductive Rebel is recorded by certified peri-steam hydrotherapist and acutonics practitioner, herbalist, and Chinese nutritional therapist, Adrienne. If you are interested in setting up an appointment for one-on-one support, ordering from our store, or checking out our course offerings, visit our website at moonessence.life. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and get insider information on upcoming events and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us at MoonEssenceMe on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your voices make this program possible. Thank you all for your continued support.